Greetings, football fans.
This is the ESPN LA USC Trojan Media Network.
Presented by Pechanga Resort Casino.
Are you ready for some football?
And here we go. Monday, September 29th, 2025. This is Trojans Live on this Monday as we react to a tough game on Saturday in Champaign, Illinois.
Welcome to Trojans Live,
The exclusive USC Trojans Coaches Show.
Trojans with the first loss of the season, and time to dust ourselves off heading into the bye week and get ready for Michigan Notre Dame ahead. We'll talk about it tonight on Trojans Live, plus spend some time on the women's golf team. And of course, we'll bring you the football roundtable. That's all ahead. Trojans Live is on for your Monday right now. Trojans Live is presented by Monster Energy. Monster Energy, unleash the beast.
Unleash the beast.
How do you do?
The exclusive USC Trojans Coaches Show. Behind the scenes insights and breaking news from the student athletes who play for the Cardinal and Gold.
Trojans Live for your Monday right now.
Live from Los Angeles.
Now with Shaun Cody, Cody Kessler, and Keely Eure, here is your host from Heritage Hall. Here is Jordan Moore.
Hello and welcome to Trojans Live, presented by Monster Energy on ESPN LA 710 across the USC Trojans Media Network. I am Jordan Moore alongside Shaun Cody and Cody Kessler. And on the bye week, we get a special guest here. It's quarterback coach Luke Huard, and USC's coach interview is presented by I Trust Capital, the official crypto platform of the USC Trojans. Coach, thank you so much for joining us. Cody's always excited to talk about quarterbacks, as are we. And your quarterback has been just fantastic this season. But I thought on Saturday, he'd been so clean, everything had sort of gone perfectly, he'd been dominant. Had to face a little bit of adversity in the middle of that game. But how do you feel like he responded? Finishing that game with 3 consecutive touchdown drives.
Yeah, well, certainly. He had his first interception of the year, and that was something obviously for us, a big focus in the offseason. Was eliminating some of those negative plays within the course of a game. And certainly, yeah, we'd love to have that play back, but the response kind of speaks for itself. The response in the fourth quarter and driving the team down the field and, putting us in a position where we had the opportunity to win. So, and give, credit to Coach Riley. Coach Riley does a phenomenal job on the sideline with quarterbacks in those scenarios too, when there's not necessarily just an interception, but whenever we may stall out a little bit. I just think he does an incredible job on the sideline, just, breeding confidence and bringing them back in. And, yeah, there's a little 3-4 play stretch there where, we lost a little bit of our rhythm and then certainly picked it up and was definitely proud of his fight and his effort and really proud of the entire unit and our entire team's fight in that entire game there.
Coach, take us through the development aspect of Jaden Maiava. Last year he gets to come in at the end of the year, finishes strong 3-1. But you mentioned the turnovers were an issue. Just looks leaps and bounds more comfortable in the offense this year. Take us through that offseason with him and trying to get him right in the right mind frame. Coach Lincoln Riley has given you a ton of credit for what you guys have been able to do in the offseason.
Yeah, well, I think, for Jaden, specifically, obviously, he got an opportunity last year to kind of watch for 8-9 games and really kind of see how this system works, how Coach Riley calls the games, and, being able to sit back. And I thought he did a phenomenal job during that time of just staying really, really positive, staying ready, and really embracing, throughout the course of the game, taking as many mental reps as possible. So when he gets in, last year, like I said, he was 3-1. And I think one thing about Jaden is, people ask me about him. I think, he's the only thing he cares about is winning. Mm-hmm. And when there's certain things about his game that he knows he needs to improve on to help our football team win, he's going to attack those things. Yep. So I think that for him too, and just his comfort level, he came in here completely humble last year, just open book, wanting to learn his teammates. Yep. And I think the greatest thing, the biggest difference now, is he's allowed himself for the teammates to learn him and what he's all about and the type of leader that he is, selfless, and really all he cares about is putting our team in position to win. And I think that's why this team has rallied around him and his confidence level. Just, the quarterback piece is not just throwing a football. There's that level of communication. Pre-snap and then post-snap, recognizing defenses. Okay, how are they trying to attack us? And you can just see from where he started when he got here, to the 4 games he played at the end of the season to now, just his comfort level, his confidence level, his openness to his teammates, and just the way that our guys respect and rally around him.
Kind of piggybacking off of that, Coach, I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, the physical attributes are there. He throws it as well as anybody in the country. But the thing that I've loved the most this year is the mental side of things. You can really tell whether it's that interception or he throws a touchdown. I mean, he'll show some excitement, he'll show some disappointment, but then he's immediately locked right back in on the sideline. He's ready to go. I just love how calm, cool, and collected he is this year. What's impressed you the most with the mental side of things and him stepping into a leadership role this season?
Yeah, I just think overall the preparation standpoint, I mean, there's nothing on the game plan that if you were to ask him a quick question on that is something he's got to press pause on.
Yeah.
And I think for just a confidence standpoint for him, it's like every call that's coming into the game, I think he's at a point right now where some of these calls that come in, he's anticipating them coming next. And just his overall comfort level. And like you mentioned, he is a guy that even last year, going back to the Nebraska game, the Texas A&M game, when there have been negative plays, he hasn't gone on the tank.
No.
He hasn't lost his aggressiveness. Now, at times you got to check your discipline,
yeah.
And make sure, all right, I'm going through my progressions, I'm going through my reads. But he has certainly shown us all that an adverse series or a negative play is not going to impact his ability to still play at a high level
and that's impressive.
Keep that confidence.
That's impressive because you see a lot of quarterbacks, especially
100%.
Young guys, when they throw that first pick, they start compounding the problem and it gets worse. So that's impressed me a lot. I'm glad you said that.
No question.
You're listening to quarterbacks coach Luke Huard on Trojans Live. Coach, what kind of security blanket is Mekhi Lemon for a quarterback?
Oh, man, I wish when I was in college I could have thrown to him. I might have played a little longer. Mekhi is just the ultimate competitor. And for me, I got the chance to, when I was coaching inside receivers, I had a year with him. And his freshman year, he got banged up a little bit, and then he played some corner towards the end of the season and then really came out in that Louisville game. But he's just a tremendous, tremendous competitor. And from a quarterback standpoint, you talk about a guy that is easy to read. It's easy to read him too because he's always open. But he's a very decisive route runner. He's fantastic without the, when the ball's in his hands, he's great with the ball. Without, the ball, I mean, he's a complete player. And for a quarterback to know that you got a guy that's that special, can do that many things with the ball in his hands, but you also know where he's going to be. There's never very many scenarios where he's running a route and it's kind of gray. Like, he's an easy guy to read. He's decisive. He plays fast. He gets in and out of breaks. And, when you're a quarterback and you got a guy like – and he's, I don't know how tall he is, but he can play like a big guy too.
Yeah.
And when you have a guy that's that versatile that can make competitive plays down the field is unbelievable after the catch. That's a lot of fun and certainly gives the quarterback a lot of confidence.
Yeah, it reminds me like a physicality, like a Steve Smith kind of. He's
100%.
He plays real hard. He can, break tackles and run a lot of stuff for him. Coach, you got a chance to see Hassan Longstreet out there a couple times this year, getting to him some quality reps out there, young man. What are the attributes you left from him? Great run on Saturday. What kind of attributes you see from the future QB?
Yeah, I think you guys have all got a little preview of that, and the best is yet to come. But, Hassan, football is really important to him. And for him now, being in that number 2 quarterback role and getting the opportunity during the game to stay engaged and kind of learn through the course of a game that way. But phenomenal arm talent, can run, very, very dedicated to the game, loves football. He's all ball. He's in the office all day, all night. But we're certainly excited about, what he can do. And we certainly have a lot of confidence that if he has to go into a game, he's going to be ready to rock and roll and can execute all aspects of this system. But in our quarterback room in general, it's a fun group to be around. These guys really support each other. They rally around each other. If you see it through the course of the game, those guys are always communicating and helping each other. So it's a really healthy room. It's a great group. And certainly Coach Riley and I are blessed to have the guys that we have here at SC.
Did he want to pull that first one? I feel he got in there and he was like, maybe I should hand this one off. I saw his eyes. I think, you wanted to pull that first one.
Well, we'll see. It timed out pretty good there on the second one. Hassan did a good job too because he got down on the 1 yard line. In that situation, it was a first play or second play he played all game. Some guys have a tendency to reach the ball out there.
And then we get a touchback.
Big pops out. So, we thought he made a, really mature decision as far as just getting those pads down. Took a little bit of a lick, but obviously got us down on the 1 yard line scoring position. So great execution on his part and a great call by Coach Riley. And, certainly looking forward to his continued development and we're certainly confident he's going to be a great USC Trojan quarterback.
Yeah, there we go.
Right.
I believe it. Coach, obviously, a tough loss on Saturday.
Yep.
Kind of the first adversity this team has faced this year. What's been your message to your room and to your quarterback this week as they go into the bye week and then get ready for Michigan the following week?
Well, I really think the culture that Coach Riley has built here, we're built for adverse situations. And this is a really close football team. And for us, in the quarterback room and obviously controlling what we can control and just making sure that the course of this week, there's still, we've played well. Jaden has played really, really well, but there's still things that we look at in the course of the 5 games that we get an opportunity to take a look back on and be like, all right, we've done these things well, but there's still a lot of areas where we can be even better. And for us as an offense, with where we're at right now, knowing that, we've executed, we've played well, but there's certainly a lot of areas that we can still improve and get better. I mean, that's a pretty fun outlook for us to think, all right, we still have not reached our top potential yet. And at the end of the day, we had opportunities in that game, specifically in the third quarter, to really put some more points on the board. And we got to find the things that we got to do to clean things up to make sure we take advantage of those opportunities to have the chance to pull away from our opponents.
Still a lot of season to go, and next up is Michigan coming to the Coliseum. That sounds great. And we have a kick time, if you haven't seen, 4:30 p.m. Pacific will be the kick at the Coli. It's a bye week this week, so we're talking about a week from Saturday coming up, USC versus Michigan. Thank you to Coach Huard, ready to take it to the next level. Unleash the beast this college tailgate season with the Monster Energy. Tear into a can of the meanest energy drink on the planet. Monster Energy, unleash the beast. Trojans Live is sponsored by Pechanga Resort Casino, proud partner of USC football. Ryon Sayeri sort of come out of nowhere to be USC's kicker this season. Can't wait to hear his story next on Trojans Live. Jordan Moore with Shaun Cody, Cody Kessler, and our Best in the Game, brought to you by Old Dominion Freight Line, official freight carrier of USA Athletics, helping the world keep promises. It's Ryon Sayeri, our kicker here at USC. Officially, you're a redshirt freshman, but as I said going into the break, I'm interested in your story. I feel like guys find kicking in different ways. How did you get to kicking, and how did you get here?
I started off by soccer, of course. I feel like a bunch of kickers start off with soccer. Always played soccer my entire life. I went to my high school to play soccer. Then COVID hit, so like all our club teams were just starting to die off little by little. So one day, me and my dad just hit the field. Did not know how to kick a football. He was holding the ball completely wrong, like laces towards me, holding it the wrong way, and we were making kicks. And he was like, "That's pretty good." Then across the field was a private coach who was training another dude to kick.
Oh, wow.
And he used to be in the NFL. He used to coach everyone. And he saw me. He was like, "You're kicking with the wrong shoes. You're kicking wrong, but like you're still making kicks. Like, come train with me." So I ended up training with him. Then hit up high school. I was blessed to have very good specialists. Like my long snapper in high school went to Utah Tech. And then the dude who taught me how to punt is the punter for Syracuse. Like, I was in a perfect situation going into high school, so they taught me everything. Then, since then, it's just been football instead of soccer.
Yeah, great. I mean, great story. But you had to stay locked in, right? You weren't supposed to be the number one kicker. Injury maybe allow you in the door there. What's it like to have that mindset to, hey, maybe this might not be my spot, but when I'm called, I'll be ready?
Yeah, I mean, the whole mindset is just to do what I can for the team. Like, my job is to make kicks, so as long as I have that job, I'm going to be making kicks.
Hey, I like that.
Yeah.
How difficult is that? Shaun mentioned locked in. I mean, you can go a whole game without having one kick, and then in the fourth quarter, you got to come out and kick the game winner. How difficult is it with the mental side of things to always be locked in and ready to go?
Yeah, I mean, the best thing is just warming up on the kicking net. Like,
yeah,
mentally is probably the best part. Like, I feel like I'm always mentally ready to make a kick, but I feel like physically, like sometimes your legs will get tired. Like, I talked to Coach True. He's getting me, like, before a kick, if my legs feel tired, go on a bike for a little bit, get my legs warmed up. But I feel like having your legs staying warm is probably the biggest key to being ready to hit a kick.
And even having that net, is that tough still? Because you're not seeing it go through the uprights. Like, do you know if, okay, that was a make, that was a miss, or is it more so just going through your routine?
Yeah, you have no clue. It's more of like, it's more of like,
it's got to be tough.
Yeah,
man.
It's more of like the feel. Like, if you feel it come off good.
Yeah.
But you don't know if it's going left or right. It's really just off the feel.
Yeah, man.
I forgot about this because I was prepping for you today. But we had this incredible punter, Eddie Chaplitsky, last year, and you had to come in for him. I forgot about that. You come in for him in the Vegas Bowl, and then you boom a 57-yarder.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so you obviously have that in your bag as well. What was that experience like, just sort of getting thrown into a game as a punter last season?
I mean, I don't even remember any of it. I'm not
You
gonna
blacked
lie.
out.
I for sure blacked out. I mean, being behind Eddie helped a lot. Like, he taught me, like, his entire warm-up. Like, I was helping him, like, toss balls nonstop. So I basically, like, learned every single thing about punting from Eddie. So I feel like getting tossed in the game and just blacking out and not remember anything, I just fell back onto, like, what I learned from him, kind of, and hit a 57-yard punt.
Yeah, it worked.
Yeah, always an interesting group, the specialist group, kind of like subsection of the team, right? You guys get to hang out all the time together. You guys are always around each other. Take us through the group. Obviously, Hank Pepper's the captain every week. So, I mean, what's it like in that group?
I mean, our group's really fun this year. Last year, I loved it, like Michael, Eddie, those guys, but they're more of, like, older guys. Like, they wouldn't do, like, what a bunch of younger kids would do. But our room now, like, Caden, a couple of the freshmen, Will, Luke, and then the snappers, the punters. I feel like our room this year is just tight-knit. Like, everyone's just, like, close together. We have competitive ping pong tournaments in the locker room nonstop because we got ping pong tables. But
yeah, in case any of you are wondering, that's what the specialists do when the other guys are running 9-on-7 run drill. We got the specialists working on the ping pong slice.
No other position group will touch the spec room in ping pong. Like, we are so good at ping pong because when they're in meetings, we're playing ping pong. But our spec room is so close this year. I love it.
All right, this is more something I want to know, and I've always been curious, but I want the honest answer. Does icing the kicker actually work? Is that a myth that these head coaches like to do, or does it really work when it forces you to maybe think a little bit longer, or is this just something that's always been a thing?
No, I personally don't think it does.
Okay.
And I feel like it's more of a harm, especially if the kicker could get the kick off.
Warm up.
That's a good point.
It's a perfect warm-up to the next kick. I mean, I feel like the best kickers, I don't feel like icing will affect them because it's the same routine. Like, you're just starting over. Like, you jog on the field, take your steps, they ice you.
Yeah.
You jog back off, and then it's a completely new kick. So you go back on and do it all over again. So I feel like icing, like, maybe some people will get more nervous, but I feel like it wouldn't affect the top guys.
Yeah.
Speaking of the top guys, why are kickers like superhuman now? I mean, this game's been around for a little while, and now you watch the NFL every Sunday, and guys are kicking 65, 67-yarders. I mean, it's like they changed the kickoff rules, so basically you're in range the moment you return a kickoff when you have a guy like Brandon Aubrey. What has changed in this sport with kickers that they're able to basically kick the length of the field?
I feel like they're getting more in touch with, like, contact. That's the biggest thing, like contact and balls. Like, the difference in, like, NFL balls and college balls, NFL will go a little bit further. So
why?
The shape and the leather.
Yeah.
The leather's a lot softer. The shape of the ball is a lot more round, so it'll fly a lot further.
Like a soccer ball.
Yeah, and then laces will affect. Like, footballs with no laces will go further, or stitching. Like, the stitching where the white stripe is, if you don't have the stitching, the ball will go, like, 5 to 10 yards further on the kick.
They're juicing the ball, Shaun.
Inflategate, man. What were we talking about here?
Man, breaking news here. All right, keep doing your thing, man. I mean, it's been great watching you. You've been so dependable, reliable for this team. Kickoffs, as you said, punting, anything they ask you to do, you've stepped up and done it. So appreciate you, and thanks for taking the time with us. Hey, Trojan fans, did you know the Ralph's app gives you easy access to weekly sales and personalized coupons? You can earn fuel points, too. Check out the app today and save while you cheer us on to another great season. Ralph's, proud partner of USC Athletics. And Stone IPA has inspired a generation of brewers and beer lovers made in Southern California. Stone Brewing's first anniversary ale continues to be today's iconic West Coast style IPA. Crisp, light-bodied, and packed with hoppy flavor. Located at fine.stonebrewing.com. All right, Keely's going to join us next. We're going to break down the defensive side and what happened at Illinois. That's coming up on Trojans Live. Jordan Moore, Shaun Cody, Cody Kessler, and Keely Eure joins us. Now we have a couple football roundtables today, which is good. There's a lot to talk about, and obviously a tough one for the Trojans on Saturday at Illinois, which, I don't know if we saw coming or not. I mean, certainly we had seen some issues defensively in the first 4 games. The front 7 had covered up a lot of the issues that we were seeing in the secondary. But then what happens when the front 7 doesn't have a great day, and that's sort of what we saw on Saturday.
Yeah, I thought Illinois had a good scouting report on the weaknesses of USC's defense, and that had been some aspects of getting the ball out quick. I thought it's been tough because they've been really attacking the middle of the field on this defense, guys, and it's you see the slants, you see the quarterback when the RPO game, the linebackers bite, you get those slant throws. I thought the run defense really got washed out on the backside, and it looked like Illinois really had a good game plan just to keep attacking that point. And the tough thing is, you don't have the experience on the back end for you got to, on some aspects of defense, every player on the defense should kind of know how this offense wants to attack you. Like as a veteran player, you should know when you have young guys out there that don't really know or have that experience, you can't recall, how are they trying to get it to Beatty, coming over the side, who are their weapons, what are the formations, like what am I looking at to tell me that can give me some hints to what this team offense is trying to do. You just don't see that recognition out there. You don't see the adjustments to those, and that's, I think, the frustrating part is just those kind of aspects of things which in some aspects you can't control because of the youth that was because of injuries is out there. So that's just watching that. That's the frustration I get, as a former player watching this defense.
Yeah, and that's 100% true from the offensive side of things. I mean, you go into a game plan as a coordinator, as a quarterback, you want to mix it up and show you a bunch of different things. But the most important thing is you're going to have a theme that day. And as a defense, once they figure it out, that's where those in-game adjustments happen. It just felt like USC either couldn't figure it out or couldn't stop it. And they knew it was coming. They couldn't get the job done. But I think the most important thing was, obviously getting the run game going. That was tough because we trusted that front four to be able to be physical in the run game and put pressure on Luke Altmaier. But when that didn't happen, Lynn started to have to play a little bit more guys down in the box and bring some safeties down and play those cover four looks so that they could have run support with the safeties, and then you put the corners on an island. And that's not a recipe for success. So to your point, Jordan, it's tough. We've been able to kind of cover or mask some of these issues with the corners because we were getting home with the front seven. Now when that doesn't happen, you got to change up some of these calls, bring some more pressure. I mean, the only sack we had was on a corner blitz. We weren't getting home, and then you leave those corners outside exposed, and Illinois was taking advantage of it all game long.
And to Shaun's point, like the one guy who the coaches regard as the coach on the field for this defense is Kamari Ramsey. And when you lose him, how many times did we see in the first 4 games he would help Bishop Fitzgerald or Christian Pierce kind of get in the right spot, help everyone on the backside. He's the green dot guy for the last couple of games. When you lose a guy like that, that just compounds that problem in the secondary. So it went from bad to worse quickly.
And Cody, too, there were no negative plays. You mentioned the one sack. For the most part, Illinois stayed out of penalties as well. So they really stayed out of predictable down and distances. I mean, We're talking so much about the pass defense, but I thought the run defense, a season to me is like in football, it's like a pressure test, right? They're going to try different things in different weeks, and especially depends on your opponents. I mean, I think when we talk about Michigan next week, we're going to start talking about different things than we've talked about all season, things that we feel like USC is really good at. Well, we might not be as good as we think because we're all of a sudden going to go up against some really good players in different spots. And that's what the Illinois, I sort of took run defense a little bit for granted going into this game. And then you play the whole game at 2nd and 4. 2nd and 4 is rough when you don't feel great about your secondary in particular. 2nd and 12, which is what they've been playing out of for 4 games. All right, we can make that work. Dan Lynn can make that work, but the run game really set up the pass for them.
Yeah, you got to earn your pass rushers. You got to win on 1st and 2nd down so you can put them in obvious passing situations. But I know this is a defensive segment, but you got to put that on the offense as well. We spotted them 7 points to start the game, so now they can lean on the run. Then we had that turnover coming out of halftime. They go up by 4, and then a 3 and out, and then they go up by 14. So now they can lean on the run. They're not in that urgency to where they have to start throwing the football. So it was a combination of everything. But, yeah, that was the biggest surprise for me. That's what this defense can lean on. And this Illinois offensive line has been struggling. I mean, they had 2 yards rushing against Indiana. I know they were down a lot in that game too, so they didn't run it a ton. But they also gave up 7 sacks in that football game. And it wasn't like they figured out some magical recipe this week. They were just better in winning their one-on-ones, and we couldn't get home with the pass rush. Now, I know they only threw it 26 times, so there weren't a ton of opportunities. But it was frustrating for me because that's just something I thought we could lean on in this football game.
Yeah, the really frustrating part to me is you know where your weaknesses are. They've been on the back end. You have some injuries, and you're that. And when you're the front seven, your guys up there with some the guys are supposed to lead this defense, that's where you're getting attacked. And that, you got to take some pride in that. You got to, that often Illinois said, we're going to challenge you guys up front. We're going to play nastier, meaner, and their credit their offensive line. I thought, they're going to hold and all these things. That's just part of playing defensive line is, teams are going to hold you. They had a bad week. I'm sure their coaches, chewed them out all week about, playing more physical, and they took it to the front seven. Now it's USC's opportunity. They have a bye week. They can, make some corrections, but the physicality, I think, was the most concerning in the run game. Guys are getting moved around, and on the backside, a lot of guys getting washed out. Nobody getting upfield. No one creating any havoc in the backfield. It was not the best defensive line performance. Now it's their opportunity to figure it out in this bye week and make it right.
Keely, when we look at the secondary, obviously you hope a bye week gets Kamari Ramsey back, and the issue there is illness, so that in theory shouldn't be a problem. Otherwise, Alex Graham seems like, a lot of people sort of hope you could take us into it a little bit because you were around camp a lot. He was a guy that certainly opened up some eyes and maybe would have had a role early on this season. We don't necessarily know where he's at, but it sounds like he did return to practice. So your hope maybe in 2 weeks is that there's another body to throw out there who could help. Otherwise, but he's just a true freshman too, so it's still more youth. But you just right now trying to find some guys.
Yeah, he returned to practice last week. Coach Riley said hopefully they'll get him in action in Michigan game, given that the bye week will give some more runway. But he was a guy who once Prophet Brown went down in camp, he became that nickel guy. But they also had some reps at corner. I think he's a guy that they like to just have that. I mean, they tried everyone in the secondary. It was a lot of versatility in camp, but I think he's just another body. And then the biggest question mark is they didn't list Prophet Brown as a season-ending injury. Is he coming back at some point this season? Is it still on the fence of, hey, let's redshirt him? Not sure. So on the whole, you kind of have who you have right now because injuries have decimated this secondary as a whole.
That's the biggest name right now that we're missing is Prophet Brown. Yep. We need that experience at nickel. That allows Kamari Ramsey to not have to play that position anymore. He can go back to safety. This game with Kamari being out, they attack that. They attack Kevin Longstreet. They attack some of the guys that we put in there, and then they put Braylon Conley on an island on the outside. They did a good job on offense of getting after that, but Prophet Brown is a name that is very missed right now for this USC defense.
This front 6 or 7 have to figure it out. This defense is built on them. They have to take the onus, the responsibility. Sometimes you just can't care who's back there. You just got to put it on us. Hey, we got to win these kind of games. We got to create some havoc to help our guys out.
And to Cody's point, Coach Lynn basically said as much. I asked him on Wednesday, how do you weigh where best to play Kamari given his skill? And he said, essentially, we have to play him at nickel based on our personnel right now. And he said it sounded like they want to move him back eventually, but they just can't right now given the depth.
Want the inside scoop on this game and all things Trojans? Be sure to sign up for the 3 Torches presented by Smart & Final. It's a free newsletter that'll hit your email inbox 3 times a week with game info, player insights, and more. Go to usctrojans.com/3torches and sign up. And Monster Energy is the official energy drink partner of USC. Tearing a can of the meanest energy drink on the planet. Monster Energy, unleash the beast. Oh, one of our faves, Justin Silverstein, the head coach for USC women's golf, is next on Trojans Live. Back on Trojans Live, Jordan Moore, Shaun Cody, Cody Kessler, and the head coach for USC women's golf, a returning champ here, Justin Silverstein. Great to have you back, Coach. Always a pleasure. Your team, it looks like you have another talented squad this year, and you just came off a tournament in Colorado where they absolutely lit it up. It seemed to enjoy the altitude, I guess. What was going so well?
It was an unbelievable week, top to bottom, really good for us. The biggest challenge going to play in Colorado, obviously the altitude. I think we just did a wonderful job preparing. We utilized our indoor facility, just a couple hundred feet over there. Cranked that altitude up to about 8,000 a couple times before we left. Tried to over-adjust, which actually I think gave us a huge advantage compared to some of the other teams there that were adjusting on site. So we actually went so advanced with our yardage work, we got comfortable how far they were hitting it and could dial it back, which is actually kind of what we normally do at sea level. So I think it was really good. We got a soft golf course and took advantage of it. It was awesome.
Coach, when you have a team that's so stacked like you have to. I'm sure that you're setting your expectations. What goes into talking through your team about setting the expectations for your year and what you guys expect to achieve.
We know what the expectation is outcome-wise. We're trying to win every tournament we go to. I've said that since I got hired here. That's why they pay me. That's why we have them on scholarship, is to try to go win tournaments. But we just try to get so deep in our process. We actually don't even talk about our process a lot. It's just kind of our data-driven practice that we do. That is our process. Mm-hmm. And the deeper we get in that and the more focused we are at home, we know the outcomes will take care of themselves. So we've done a really good job of that so far this year. Just a little cleaner performance this time than our first tournament where we finished third. We were able to come away with a win.
Coach, you've had a lot of accomplishments here at USC, but the one that impresses me the most is you have 18 All-Americans and 17 first-team All-Conference players. That tells me that you can recruit well, but you also can develop well, and that's so important at the college level. What's allowed you to have that success when it comes to the development of your golfers?
Well, recruiting great players makes you a good coach.
Yeah.
I mean, you can be the best coach in the country if you don't have the players. You're not going to get it done. But what we
you couldn't turn me into an All-American coach? What the heck?
You never gave me the chance. What we've done really well recently is identify recruits that want to come here and be developed. And that sounds kind of weird, but some golfers don't. Some golfers are like, "Where's the range? Leave me alone." And we have those kids on visits, and we're like, you know what? We're probably good here.
Yeah.
We're very upfront with what we do when we get you on campus, as far as a recruit's concerned. And you can see immediately some kids are like, sit up in their chair and they're like, yeah, tell me more about this. And some kind of sit back and are like, nah, maybe not for me. So we've tried to wean out those kids and get kids that want to get better. And we've got a room full of them right now. I think this is probably our best locker room since I've been head coach, and we're really excited about what we can do.
That was a great coach answer, but you got to give yourself more credit because, I mean, me and Shaun have seen it. You've been on teams where 5-stars come in, and if they're not coachable, they don't develop the right way. So that's a huge testament to you.
Well, it's a good transition, Coach. I'm a little bit grumpy today. You know, nothing makes me more patriotic every 2 years than the Ryder Cup, and I'm tired of getting beat here. But you're a good person to talk to about this because you're presented with two of these challenges every year, which is one, take kids that were trained to be individual sport athletes and make them into a team somehow, and then two, play stroke play all year, and then when the chips are down, play a completely different sport, basically, which is match play. Explain that challenge to people many of whom watched the failings of the best players in the world trying to do those two things.
It's incredibly difficult for those athletes and the coaches to be put in that position. But as far as the Ryder Cup's concerned, the formats are different, so I think it actually makes the match play, stroke play change a little bit easier because you're playing with a partner. The singles piece is a little awkward, but it's still pretty cool, right? It's one day just head-to-head.
Yeah.
But I do think being put in that position on such a big stage for the American kids is different than the European kids because if you look at European junior golf, they grow up playing match play in team formats.
Oh, wow.
We now have a U.S. national team. We're in our second year now of having that through the USGA. So our kids are going to start seeing that a little bit more. But as far as stroke play, match play, the Europeans see that probably 10, 20x what we see here in the United States.
Coach, got a little rowdy out there, I noticed. Got a little crazy out there.
New York,
what's the
East Coast.
You ever been in one of those kind of golfing situations where it's got a little rowdy out there?
No, I was kind of jealous. It looked pretty cool. I actually really like how Rory handled it for the most part. I mean, the coolest thing ever was telling that dude to shut up and then stuffing it to 2.5 feet. He really set himself up to not look really cool. And as golfers, we don't look cool that often. But that was a pretty good moment. That crowd seemed to get a little too rowdy Saturday, but seemed to rein it in for Sunday. New York loves to come back, and they made a good run. So I think it was a good atmosphere. Every other year is probably about as much as we need for that. Plus the Waste Management Phoenix Open gives us a little bit of taste of that. And then I think we're good. Back to kind of being settled
I did
down.
watch the Zapruder film of the alleged drink that was thrown at Mrs. McElroy, and it was an arm hit. Drink flies up.
Someone swiped the can and
misunderstanding in that situation.
Yeah, that was wild. Okay, I got a question for you, Coach. This is for your athletes, but also maybe the average golfer out there, aka
it's for Cody.
For me. So in the off season when I'm not working, I have a lot of time to golf. What would you say is more important? And more of a serious way, you think it's more important to go out there and play around over and over? Or do you think it's more important to spend time on the range and perfect your craft? And if you have the option of both, which one are you doing?
You're going to hate this answer, but it's both. It depends on your skill level. Like as you're building up your skill level, you need that block practice on the range, that mundane over, chipping, putting, hitting. As you get up in skill level, the best thing you can do for practice is to practice on the golf course.
Yeah.
So if you're fortunate enough to have a golf course with some open space in front of you and behind you where you can hit extra shots, that's where you're going to get the best practice by yourself because you can simulate real golf situations and work on them over and over in that way that you do on the range. So you're randomizing your practice, but on the course. That's like the best of both worlds.
I'm the worst at just going to the range and just pounding golf balls over and over and over. But, I'm always told it's called golf, not golf swing, but you're not having fun at golf if your golf swing's bad. So it's always kind of a thing for me that I've always been confused with.
You just got to get creative at practice. I mean, we're trying to randomize stuff all the time when we're practicing as a group. And it's hard because it is a sport where you can just do the same thing over and over and get pretty good at it. But it's going to hold you back in the long run from getting as good as you want to be.
I was looking at your roster, and it was a refreshing feeling these days. Looking at many of our team's rosters, it's like, oh, it's a whole new team to learn. But you have some roster continuity, and you have had successful teams, but they haven't quite gotten over the hump yet which means that they've built up some scar tissue. What's that like when you bring back a group that is good enough to win it every year, and now you can go into this year, I assume all of them having learned a lot over the last couple.
Yeah, I mean, our lone senior is Catherine Park, and she's seen it all.
A lot of golf here.
A lot of really good golf. Her last round was bogey-free, 64, 8 under, which is crazy. And she's actually in Singapore right now at the World Amateur Team Championship, which is really cool for her. But she's seen it all. She's seen it all here. She's seen the good, the bad, the ugly. So as we bring in freshmen and a transfer this year, she's able to kind of teach them what it's like before they experience it. And that's something in golf we don't see a ton, because a lot of times our best players are in and out of here a year or two. So having someone like her who's been around for 4 years, came in as a pretty highly recruited junior golfer, but got really good here. She's so bought into the development process. So there's no excuse for a freshman to not be bought into that development process we talked about, Cody. So it's been really good, and she's been a blessing for us and one of our best players in program history.
Coach, the football team took one on the chin, and it's not always going to go perfect for any team you're on. You're going to have to bounce back after tough defeats. I'm sure you've been there. And what's the message from a coach after a tough loss and expectations are high, and maybe you got to reset where you're at? What's if you're going to the football meeting right now, what's kind of the message for the team there?
Well, what we try to do is we try to stay away from any generalizations that are really easy to make after a tough time. We try to get really specific, and we've talked about it on the show before, very data-based with what we do, but we really try to dig deep in the data to show them this is why it went wrong. Like, we could have seen this coming 3, 4, 5 days before we left, that this is an issue, and here's the numbers that prove it. So we go back then to the process-oriented part of things, say, this is what we're going to do to make sure this doesn't happen again, because we can't keep making the same mistakes over and over. And that's something we talk about, especially in golf, where there's a lot of randomization as far as, hitting shots is concerned, but your process stuff is picking targets, picking clubs, picking yardages. If there's any mistakes made there, we can't be making those over and over, site to site. So we really try to drill down into those really specific things. Yep. And we've seen with our really highly talented players who are ranked high, that hits home with them. We earn more trust with them when we can show them that stuff. Then we can get back to work.
Stanford Intercollegiate is next for you guys, and then your fall schedule really builds to that East Lake Cup, right? That's a cool event on TV. Is that match play?
It's match play. Yeah. It's 1 round of stroke play for seeding purposes, and then 2 rounds of match play.
And we're going to win the Ryder Cup in 2 years in Ireland, right?
We got some changes to make.
We got some changes. Maybe we found
you might be on that short list for captains.
Yeah, maybe instead of just going with vibes as a captain,
but
we
keep
can
it on the team. Let coach
use strategy. Just a thought. Thank you to Coach as always. We've got another football roundtable coming up next on Trojans Live. Trojans Live is sponsored by Pechanga Resort Casino, proud partner of USC football. Jordan Moore, Shaun Cody, Cody Kessler, and Keely Eure with you. Second football roundtable, so let's switch to the other side of the team and take a look at the offense, which, largely was impressive again, guys. I just it didn't seem to me like Illinois had any answers. I think Lincoln Riley pretty much said that to us in the post-game press conference. He's like, I felt like we were moving the ball well all game right from the first drive, but in a low-possession game, you just look at, the fumble on the first drive. Jaden throws his first INT of the season. You have the illegal man downfield, which chalks off a touchdown. And then you had a little rut there by Mayava where he had the 1 3 and out on some high throws. And boom, that's 4 possessions. And the pressure that you're under in a game like that, that's just how it is. You don't look back and say, oh, bad offensive performance, but it wasn't perfect and it needed to be almost perfect.
And what's crazy is you put in those conditions, but you also lose Elijah Page. Yep. You lose your starting center at the start of the game. And then you also, credit to Jacoby Lane for coming in and wanting to fight and play, but you also didn't have him at full strength. It's still a great performance when you account for all of that, and yet that still wasn't enough for this team. So it was frustrating to see in that regard.
Yeah, just so much stress put on the offense when your defense plays like that. Really, it makes every possession critical, and kudos to them. They played well, but just didn't capitalize, like Coach Huard said, on every opportunity. The fumble is huge to me, especially when they defer. They get the basically 2 possessions right there where they're getting the ball. So that's big, and that's, if you're Wayman Jordan, that's a second one. And at a certain point, you keep putting it on the ground. You can't be in there. That's just part of football. You're a running back. He's got a ton of skills, but you can't put the ball on the ground. We got someone. It doesn't matter what you're caring for. We we need to possess the ball. Quarterback's been good. I thought the tight ends were fantastic catching the ball, man. They were getting crushed all day. Talked to Lake after the game. He looked beat up, but man, just kept making possession after. And then Makai was fantastic. So yeah, just been a lot of pressure on your offense to perform when the defense plays like that.
Lake McCree is second in the Big Ten in yards per catch.
Yeah,
wow.
Second to only Jacoby Lane.
Tough catches,
wow.
tough catches.
Keep getting him the football, and to those tough catches, man. That's where I'll start. I'll start with the negatives. I mean, I thought Maiava played great all day, but he's got to work on some of those accuracy issues. When we did the recap episode, I would praise him the entire episode, and then we'd have a small part at the end, those first 4 weeks, to where he was just missing some open guys, and it didn't hurt him against Michigan State and Purdue and Georgia Southern and those games early on, but you can't, to Jordan's point, give up those possessions. You have to be able to hit. When you have guys open and you have guys going over the middle, you have to hit them, but you also have to protect them, and you can't give them those high throws because then we start losing more guys. But overall, I thought they played well. I mean, I was so impressed by Maiava. This was kind of the first adversity that he faced this season.
Yeah.
You come out at halftime, you have the pick. Then your defense does a good job of getting a 3-and-out, but then you go right back to a 3-and-out and you miss some open throws. At that point in time, I remember writing down in my notes, how's he going to respond? Because they're down 14 and this game could get out of hand, and he goes back to back scoring drives and he gives his team the lead. And I know at the end, in a perfect world, sure, would we have been able to run the football and maybe take a little bit of time off, at least maybe on first down, but you're not going to get a lot of opportunities to get one-on-one with Makai Lemon, so you've got to take advantage of that in that point of the game. You've got to be able to go score. So, yeah, overall, they did a good job. I was impressed with the offensive line, having to play some musical chairs. I hate that touchdown got called back. That was one of the best trick plays I've ever seen. And, John Ray Reed coming in, that's a play that you rep. Those trick plays you rep with your starters. You don't really have the backups come in. They get some of the bulk of the game plan, but you don't rep those. He's just got to be better in that situation. But it's frustrating because you look back at it, and as bad as it could have gotten, we had some fumbles and it could have gone the other way, but we had plenty of opportunities to win that game, and I know the offense is kicking themselves for not taking advantage of those.
Cody, what did you see from the run game? Kind of like Purdue, it was fine, just a little bit more of a grind, whereas at home, it's been like 9 yards a carry.
Yeah, it wasn't as flashy as we've seen. This has been a run-first offense, and we've been putting up some 300-yard games on the ground. We've been going back and forth between Wayman Jordan and Eli Sanders. We didn't have that 1-2 punch. Eli Sanders was
struggled.
Non-existent in this game.
Longest run was Hassan's.
16-yarder. Yeah. And Wayman Jordan, he still had a solid day. I think he had 94 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. So he performed well, but you can't have that opening drive fumble. And to Shaun's point, the first one, all right, we'll forget about it. Once it happens a second time, it starts to become consistent. It starts to become a theme. And when you go on the road in that type of environment, not only do you spot them 7 points, you get that 12th man, that crowd even more involved in this game. And it's tough to overcome those mistakes. But, yeah, you just got to stick to it. I love that Lincoln Riley still ran the football. I mean, on that last drive, we went 4 runs and 4 passes, and Wayman Jordan had a 13-yard run before the 2-minute drive. So we were still balanced, even down 6 with 2 minutes left to go. So I'm not too worried about the run game right now, especially with the offensive lineman having to rotate a little bit. But, yeah, it wasn't as efficient as it's been the first couple of weeks.
And Keely, you know how this business goes. You win the game, and they don't talk about the things you didn't do that well. You lose the game, and what gets lost is some of the amazing things. I mean, we have seen some great receivers here. Makai Lemon is just another one. I mean, I'm going to bring him up in the next segment too, but just heroic stuff from him down the stretch.
Unreal. And I got to give Cody props. When he was looking at the high school film, when we did that initial, hey, who's coming to USC? He circled 6 and he said, this guy has it. So Cody was on it from the start, but Makai Lemon is just a real, it's not like we doubted that, but he just put it on his back on Saturday, and you knew that guy is good. And it's funny, I was actually near some injured Illinois defensive linemen, and they were like, I can't believe that guy. They were just in awe of Makai. So it was nice to be like, it's not just us who thinks that.
You know what's wild, Jordan, too? People forget he played DB a couple of years ago. I mean, he's a team first type guy. Now he's getting his opportunity. It's great to see.
All right, Makai Lemon is the subject of our over-under. That's next in our final segment of Trojans Live. One final segment of Trojans Live. Appreciate you all being with us and everyone that helps put this show on for us again today. Our over-under is presented by Pechanga Resort Casino, proud partner of USC Athletics. Makai Lemon is at 589 receiving yards through 5 games. That leads the nation. Look out. Over under 1275 for receiving yards from Makai Lemon. Michael Pittman's number, that's where I got that number. Michael Pittman Jr. in 2019 had 1275 in 13 games.
I was going to smash the over. That sounds like a ton, though, man.
It's a lot. I mean, it's basically... he's certainly on pace to do it.
I think it really, obviously big game the other day without, with the help of his partner there. But if he gets his partner back, maybe that'll ease some tension in that secondary.
I'm going over. I mean, the book's already out on Makai. You saw him a little bit last year, those last 7 games, and then you see him 5 games this year, and he's still producing at a high level. I mean, that last drive of the game, teams are still taking their chances with him. I think they're going to continue to do the same thing. If you get Jacoby Lane back, that's going to take some pressure off him. He's going to keep getting one-on-one matchups. I like the over.
Yeah, I'm actually going to take the over, too. I think if it was last year with the depth that they had in the receiver room, I would take the under. But now when it's just focusing on Jacoby and Makai, I'm going to take the over.
Really liked your comp. Steve Smith, that's a good. I was going to go with the sort of the lazy USC comp of Amon-Ra. I think from the USC universe, that's the closest that we've seen with Makai. But Steve Smith is a good comp.
Man, Steve Smith was tough, man. And that's with Makai. He's physical in the run game, everything. He's just physical.
Why is that lazy? That was my comp. Amon-Ra.
No, it is. Do you think it's right though?
Yeah, same body type. They play the game the same way, very physical. They're not the biggest guys in the world, but they like to go over the middle. They'll have some of those tough hand catches. But the thing that impressed me the most between both of them is the way they run routes. They're so smooth in and out of breaks, and they're tough to stop.
We're getting in and out of this break. Fight on, everybody.